Breaking Stigma is really about challenging the way we visually represent addiction in our community, which it's incredibly huge passion of mine that we change the way we view it. Every piece of art that has to do with addiction is like super ugly, right? Like it's like needles in arms, it's people broken on the street, it's homelessness, it's people in absolute brokenness versus what addiction really looks like. And that can be a piece of addiction for sure, but it's not the entire piece of addiction at all. Because then what that does for us visually as a society is that that's what we assume addiction looks like. There's so many people that struggle with addiction that you wouldn't think look like it, right? There's this idea of what an addict looks like, and it's total nonsense. It's not real. And so breaking stigma is really challenging what that looks like. I've dealt with people who have addictions my entire life. Like it's been in my family, it's been in my friends and loved ones. I also do it as a job every day, and I see people. We sometimes will have a heart for people who struggle with mental illness, and these are things we kind of understand, but there's always the idea of choice in addiction, right? Like you chose this, you chose this. Nobody chooses to be an addict. There isn't a single person alive that chose to be an addict. They may have chosen to pick up a drug at one point. They never chose to be an addict. It's not real. And that's something that we absolutely need to shatter in our community and the way we think about this, because if that's the way we think about this, as a whole community, we are unable to respond to it the way we need to, right? Like we're not going to get the dollars that we need to treat this disease because people still believe that it's a choice. And if the people who are making laws and setting budgets think that, well, this is just a choice, then it's a lot harder to donate or to put money towards something that is absolutely necessary. Breaking stigma especially is about showing the people that struggle, because that's, I think, the most important piece of this is that people need to see the people and understand their stories and connect to them as humans versus addicts. 1 in 4 people struggle with an addiction. 1 in 4. And that number shrinks even smaller when you're looking at problematic use, right? So we have people that in our youth are bumping up against like problematic use that could potentially lead to an addiction. It's in the news every single day, right, about addiction and drugs in our community, and people are super concerned about that. But then they forget the next step, which is how do we treat it? We haven't asked anybody to be a part of this project because that's anonymity is still really important to those of us that are struggling with addiction. But if you did want to participate, we've had people come to us and be willing to participate in this project. The stories have been incredible and they've been wide varied, which I think is the exact point of this project, is that there isn't one picture. Most everybody has been saying that it's incredibly empowering to do this, that it was a little scary at first to kind of come forward and label themselves as someone who struggled with addiction, but that it was very empowering, and that it also like invited people in their lives to love them. Children of people who have experienced addiction, spouses, friends, family members, moms, sisters, brothers, that type of stuff. We're asking you to come along with us and kind of help also challenge the way that looks. I really want Breaking Stigma to be huge. I want it to be throughout our entire community. Sharing it and asking people to share it as well, if you believe in this project, it incredibly helps us to kind of move forward and make it as big as we'd like to make it.